You want to build your squad inventory. You want to identify how much energy, safety, flexibility, appreciation, and awareness you get from each one of the people that you've hung out with in the last month, in the last 6 months, whatever works for you. I radically, intentionally chose to find people that saw me, people that were hungry for mutual support. Because friendships, I truly believe, don't have to be hard. They're not supposed to be work. They're supposed to be easy. Sabrosura, papi, que. Hello, everyone. This is Pam, the Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast that features Latine and people of the global majority who break barriers, change lives, and make this world a better place. Welcome to episode 371 of Café con Pam. Today, it's just you and me. And today, we are diving into an essential topic: building your support squad, or as some people may call it, your network. But I say, choose your squad. Have you ever wondered how some people seem to have an amazing team or an amazing group of people around them? In this episode, we're going to break down how you can intentionally build your squad to help you thrive. This episode was inspired by a podcast interview I did with Naima Patterson on a series she's doing on friendships. I hope I say her name correctly. And I thought, why not share that concept with my audience? Y pues, aquí estamos. Let's do this. Let's start by defining what I mean by choosing your squad. Your squad is a group of people who play different roles in your life to support you and your growth. Think of them as your personal board of directors. This whole concept of choosing your squad actually began when I lost all my friends after I started my business. So I had to dig deep into my relationships and ways I connect with people. After that, we all experienced a pandemic, and I realized the way humans connect with each other also shifted. So I started teaching this concept inside of my programs. If you've been a part of the 30-day tapping challenge or Align Mastermind, then you have learned a bit about this already. And if not, take a seat, grab your cafecito, and let's dive in. To start, let's set the tone so you understand how this concept of your squad works. If you were a house, there are different components of the house that serve different purposes. When it comes to your relationships, you also have different types of relationships and ways that you connect. So I've created some form of archetypes or concepts for the various types of people you connect with. And there are 5. The pillars. The pillars. The pillars are the ones that hold space for you. These are for you always and unconditionally, and you can absolutely count on them to support you. Like the pillars of a house, these people are those who will show up when you need them. These are your best friend, perhaps your life partner, your family, or your chosen family. All of these are or. Then, number 2, we have the walls. The walls are the ones that listen to you, las paredes, the ones that listen to you and support you, typically without expectation. Think of a coach, a therapist, sometimes it's a best friend. Walls and pillars are close, but they're not always the same. So they could be interchangeable, but they're not always the same. So they're different roles. Then we get the pictures. The pictures are the ones you look up to, your role models, your mentors. Think of the posters we all had in our rooms in the 90s. Or if you didn't grow up in the 90s, think of pictures you would hang at your house with people you admire. Or perhaps a bookshelf with books written by people you look up to. These people could be real or they could be fictional. The pictures are the amplifiers, the expanders, those people that show you things can happen for you because it's already happening for them. So they are the example. Number 4, we have the Wi Fi. These are the people that carry information, build connections, and create bridges between you and others. Think acquaintances, if you own a business, perhaps vendors, associates, partners sometimes, not necessarily like business partners, but people you collaborate with, friends of friends perhaps. These are the Wi-Fi, people that transfer information. And last but not least, number 5, we have the garden gnomes. The garden gnomes live, así como se llama, in the garden. You go to the garden to play, you go to the garden to have fun, but you don't go to the garden necessarily to share your secrets or to have deep conversations, at least in this concept. Garden gnomes could have been pillars or walls, but they now live outside. These could be old friends, these could be neighbors, old coworkers, old roommates, even family members. So, garden gnomes aren't always garden gnomes. Garden gnomes perhaps started as a wall or maybe even a picture. And perhaps it's happened to me where I've had someone I actually looked up to, and then somehow we became friends, and then our chapter ended and they went into the garden gnome role. Those are the 5 types of roles that I have come up with that I think if you think about it, you might identify some people. And here, what's important is for us to realize that not all friendships are created equal. I actually don't call everyone a friend. You may know them, you could even hang out with them, but they're not necessarily your friend. So, my invitation is for you to take a good inventory of the people in your life and also to consider their role. Perhaps you'll find that some people you considered your pillar or even your wall have actually moved to the garden. It happens often. Does that mean that you'll stop talking to them? No, not always. But the dynamic and the way you connect with them has shifted, and we need to accept that. Perhaps my hope is that with this concept, you get freedom when it comes to setting and even creating expectations between your connections. Because friendships, I truly believe, don't have to be hard. They're not supposed to be work, they're supposed to be easy. So, now that you know the types of people in your squad, we are now going to take action. So, before I dive into the resources, let me share a quote that has actually changed the way that I think about the people that I hang out with. It's a quote by Dr. David McClelland from Harvard. It reads: "The people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure in life." Think about it. The people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure in life. So, to get even more clear, we're going to do 3 things. We're going to identify, nurture, and expand. Number 1, we're going to identify. We want to create that inventory. We want to reflect on your current relationships and perhaps figure out who fits what role. My invitation is to write down the names of the last 5 people you hung out with, the last 10 people you hung out with, and give each person the following rating. Energy. How much energy does this give you? Does this person give you when you hang out? From 1 to 5. If it's 5, you feel super energized, you feel excited at the end of your hangouts. 1, you kind of like feel a little bit drained. Number 2, safety. How safe do you feel with this person? How safe do you feel to be yourself? How unmasked do you show up with this person? 0 or 1, you don't. 5, you feel very safe. Appreciation. How appreciated do you feel when you hang out with this person? Do they give you compliments? And this is not like cheesy compliments, but like, when you sometimes you're like, I want to share this awesome win that I did today. And if they are the people that celebrate you and they're like, you deserve this, you feel appreciated. Flexibility. Number 4 is flexibility. Flexibility is how flexible they are, because there's also many times we exist with friendships with a lot of expectations. And I feel like this whole week I've been hearing a lot about friendships and the expectations of friendships and people being mad at each other because they don't like feel appreciated. But it's the appreciation. Let me just clarify something, that the appreciation is not because of expectation. The appreciation is because it's organic. And so the flexibility piece comes with saying, how flexible are they with your dynamic, with your connection, with the way that you connect? So I have a friend, for example, who she checks all of the numbers. She gives me lots of energy. I do feel safe. I absolutely feel appreciated. Flexibility is a super five, and I'll share the example, and I'll share about number five in a second. But so when it comes to flexibility with her, for example, many times we have a time to show up or hang out. She's very much someone who needs to have in-person connection, and I'm all for that. I'm actually not so much for that. She loves us being in person, and so we schedule things to do in person because I know that's how she feels appreciated. I could survive with our friendship being on text, but I know and I care about her, so I do show up in the way that she feels appreciated. However, we both know that we are very flexible with our friendship. And there's been many times when we have a thing scheduled and she messages me like 2 hours before and she's like, look, I love you. I don't feel like it today. I'm just not feeling well. I'm tired. Yesterday was a hard day, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Cool. So we're both very flexible. Same thing if I was to do the opposite, or like I'm on my period, I'm really not, I don't feel like going out today or going outside. And she totally understands it. And so think of when it comes to life, how flexible is this connection? So I felt like with flexibility, I needed to give an example. And number five is awareness. How much awareness does this person have of your needs? So the last example that I gave, I think we're both pretty aware on how we connect with each other. And actually, the same friend that I'm referring to, I I am the person that will say, "Hey, how can I support?" And I genuinely mean it. I don't if I don't want to support you, I just won't ask you, you know? And so, or not that I don't want to support you, but I don't have the capacity to support you. I just won't ask you. But when I do, is because I genuinely mean it. And with this particular friend that I'm speaking of, she was going through a hard time. And so I was messaging her a lot. And I was like, hey, I just want you to know that I'm here with you. If you want to call me at any moment, let me know. And so I would check in like 2 days later, like, hey, how are you doing? And after like a week of me, like every other day or almost daily, I think I was checking in on her. And this is a while back. So awareness, establishing how you need to build connection is important. She messaged me back and she was like, hey, I really appreciate you checking on me via text or sending me voice memos. But truly, the way that I do feel appreciated is when you say, let's go for a walk, or when you say, let's go grab lunch. Because her way of connecting is in its physical connection. You know, we want to, like, she wants to see you in the flesh. And so that allowed me that simple comment. I didn't take it personally. I received it with lots of grace and flexibility, and it created awareness on how my friend feels appreciated and connected and safe and all of the things. And so I was like, you know what? Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with me how you like to connect. Moving forward, if I want to support you, I'll just be like, hey, when are you free? Let's hang out. And she was like, that's perfect. And so we could literally go months without talking to each other. And then all of a sudden, one Sunday, one of us is like, hey, do you want to go for a walk? Let's go. And that's how you have safety. So, back to identifying. You want to reflect on your current relationships, identify who fits each role, and rate them. And you want to have a solid rating of where they are with you in your life. And be honest, you're not going to show them this. You know, you're not going to be like, hey, here are the results of your friendship test. You know, this is just personal for you. But it gives you some clarifying data because as as a marketer, I've been taught to make decisions based on data. And so I always come back to how do we make decisions based on data and even for a personal life. So I created this thing and I hope it served you. Number two, nurture. So now that you've identified who's in your squad, then you want to nurture who's already in your squad. You want to schedule your check-ins. You want to show appreciation with however people want to connect or feel like they connect with you. You want to show up for them. You want to ask them, how does it feel if I show up for you this way? Also, you want to honor how you would like to connect to people. because it's not just about giving, but it's also about allowing yourself to receive. So nurturing is step number 2, and step number 3 is expanding. So expanding, there's going to be gaps. The first time I do this squad inventory once a year ish. And, right now it's middle of the year is a good time to kind of like see where we are, kind of like halfway through the year. And I don't know when you listen to this, but it's something that at least once a year I recommend you doing. Or if you feel disconnected. I feel like this time it's when a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't know where I am with my connections." It might be good to do this exercise of inventorying. And it's very simple. So number 3 is expand, because we are going to notice gaps. And the gaps will be there because maybe you thought you had some walls and maybe the walls moved outside to the garden. Or maybe some pillars might be looking a little empty. So this is where you can look for opportunities to meet new people, where you can look for new mentors, where you can find events, groups, clubs, join a sport, find a hobby where you could connect to like-minded people. But it's intentional, you see? So it's not just about wishing you made new friends. It's about being intentional, because remember, 95% of your success in life comes from the people you hang out with. Really think about, who would you like to meet? Where can you find them? And perhaps go there. Okay, so I will give you a challenge this week. You want to create, number 1, create your squad inventory. You want to reach out and connect with someone. And of course, you get bonus points if you tag me or DM me and let me know how it went. So to summarize, building your squad is intentional. Building your squad is curated. And building your squad could also be a bit challenging to maintain at first. But once you find your rhythm, you'll honor the connections and your life will absolutely improve. Remember, as you grow, your squad will change, it will shift, it will transition. And this is part of growth. This is part of life. This is part of expanding and becoming a better version of ourselves. So give yourself permission to also grieve the garden gnomes you may have thought were pillars. Back to the beginning of this episode, when I started Café con Pam, people laughed at me in front of my face and behind my back. It was painful, and this is what led me to realize I needed to find new friends. So I reached out to people who were doing this weird thing called podcasting. And to this day, one of my best friends from that moment is Luis, whom a lot of you know. And I would not have met him if it wasn't for choosing to radically expand my circle to people that got me. I radically, intentionally chose to find people that saw me, people that were hungry for mutual support. So declare it. Who do you want to connect with? What type of connections are you craving? Take a look at your inventory. Fill the gaps. Because all you have to do is decide and get started. To recap, we have 5 types of people in our life. The pillars, they support you. The walls, they listen to you. The pictures expand you. The Wi-Fi are the ones who share information and bridge connections. And the garden gnomes, they provide fun. You want to build your squad inventory. You want to identify how much energy, safety, flexibility, appreciation, and awareness you get from each one of the people that you've hung out with in the last month, in the last 6 months, whatever works for you. I feel like as adults, we don't have that big of a circle that it would be daunting to think of the last people that you hung out in the last 3 months or 6 months, because it's kind of like the same. Then you want to nurture the relationships you already have, and you want to expand and find the gaps. Deliberately make the decision to fill them. Figure out what you want, who you want to connect with, and go find them. So listeners, don't forget to subscribe, leave 5 stars, drop some thoughts on all the platforms. Let's connect at Café con Pan Podcast and all the places and spaces. Download the worksheet that we're going to have in the episode notes. So I've decided I'm going to give you a worksheet for this episode because there's a lot. And so head over to the episode notes, download the worksheet, That's where you can do your inventory, your squad inventory, and all the things that I shared about today are there. Y bueno, listeners, como siempre, stay shining.
Sabrosura pa' ti que